Right, good evening. Look at all these people here. Wow, welcome back to Cloud Native Media. This is number 5. Wow, wow, wow. And it's amazing when you do these meetup things, you kind of get, sign-ups, you get about 70 people signing up, and then you only expect about half to come. And I think we've got about 50, 60 of the 70, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you all for coming tonight. I do appreciate you've been traveling in the cold, and there's been strikes this week and all the rest of it. So thanks so much for coming. It's been 3 months since we were here last. 3 whole months. What happened? We had the World Cup. We had Christmas. I had to do my tax return. Anyone have to do their tax return? Yeah, some members of the government didn't do their tax return properly, did they? So, easy win. See, I told you I wasn't a comedian. We're here. We've got 2 amazing speakers tonight. Who's been here before? Hey, and who's a first timer? Fantastic. Look at that. Look at all those new people. And that's brilliant because every time we get new people, and obviously the thing is we only get the same group of people in the room together once. It's a one-time thing. So please, when you get an opportunity, go and network, go and talk to people that you might never meet again because it's a one-time group. So tonight we have got Andy Beale from BT Sport, who's going to talk about doing live production in the cloud. Fantastic. And we've even got the audio working for him after a bit of stress. So we're doing all right with that. And then afterwards we've got Andrew from, it's all the Andys tonight. Andrew, we've got Andrew from AWS to talk about sustainability, green stuff. So how we do live production in the cloud without breaking the planet. So that's also good. So what's Cloud Native Media? Why are we here? What do we do? What's it all about? We start off with some clouds. There are others. There's sort of Tencent and Alibaba and I think IBM even dabble in it these days, don't they? But mainly cloud is these guys, right? And cloud native, we say, might be this. I mean, look, it's always something that we discuss and up for debate. You know, is cloud native all about containers and microservices, or is it about serverless and cloud native, cloud provider native services? So Cloud Native Media, we say we do a bit of this, and we put in a bit of TV and radio, and we say how do we do TV and radio in this new kind of software cloudy kind of way. So what are we? We're an informal group. This is the spiel from our meetup. We're not an organisation. We're not a society. We don't have it's just you basically. We just run this thing. We buy some beer. You come along. That's it, right? So we're not making any money here. It's just a thing, right? We have a code of conduct. I'll leave you to read it. It's a serious thing. Thank you very much. Organisers, well, David and I have been running this thing for, what is it now? Nearly 8 months. 8 months since last June. This is obviously number 5, and we're very pleased to have again so many people here tonight. Great to see you all. We've got some sponsors. Who's talking about TechX? Russell?
It is genuinely great to see everybody here tonight. I guess it starts the year as the way you intend to go on. So thanks for coming. Everything that's talked about here, what Paul's just pointed out, is so valuable because what we're doing every day is trying to get people to do the best version of what they need to do, and that involves increasingly the cloud. And every conversation here, every talk, is part of building on that each time to do something better, to get to where we all want to be. There are gaps, there's new things we can do, and sometimes we need to do that in a formal setting, and often it's really great to do it in this kind of informal setting. So thanks for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next time and hearing all of the talks tonight.
Fabulous. Thanks, Russell. And I'll keep it Greg.
Cheers. Thank you for everyone for coming again to Cloud Native Media in Newman Street, which is a very non-cloud media location. Like literally, if something happens here tonight, the kind of auto resilience of the cloud is possibly a little bit of a problem. But it's a pleasure to host the meetup group again. Thanks to Paul and David for organising again. Arqiva being a traditional service provider in lots of people's eyes, aren't always associated with cloud native as a term, but we are very proud and happy to host everybody who's interested in how we move traditional broadcast and media distribution to a more modern kind of architecture and solution. So very happy to be here and be here and hosting you, of course. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. And finally, David.
Thank you. Livewire, we help companies build and maintain cloud native infrastructure. So I'll keep this brief.
Fantastic. Love it. Yeah. Brilliant. And it's really boring, isn't it? We want you to subscribe on YouTube. Yeah. Click the bell and all of that. Yeah. Please, because we've got about 150 subscribers on YouTube at the moment, and I'm pretty sure there's people in here who aren't subscribed on YouTube. Yeah. So if you can, that would be great. That would be awesome. We're on other socials as well, LinkedIn and all that. But YouTube, I think, is really where we need to get some subscribers. Community diary. What have we got coming up? We've got next week DevOps Exchange. We've got we've got some tech talks about automation. Oh yeah, Synth UK are doing their showcase in a couple of weeks' time. I think some of you are signed up to go to that. There's a new group called the Oops Outage Ops Incident Group, which is it sounds interesting, doesn't it? So I thoroughly recommend that one. That sounds good. And then Cloud Native London, who have a similar name to us, so they must be good. And then we're hopefully back on 22nd of March. So it's a Wednesday night for those that were grumbling that this was a Thursday. Obviously, 2nd of March is dependent on the RMT and. There's so much going on, isn't there? I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next month or 6 weeks. So that's the date. But if we have to change it, we'll change it. Conferences. Well, there's a few conferences. We've got next week the AWS Media Symposium, which is available online if you haven't got a ticket for that. That sounds really interesting. We've got the tech show in Excel. We've got NAB, which we joked about last time that all the people in Las Vegas who are watching on the stream, they can go to that. Usual stuff. IBC's coming up in September, of course, for those who go to that. We've got a bit of news. The news spot. So we had AWS reInvent. I ended up going to AWS reInvent. It was a bit of a last-minute thing, but it was huge. I'd never been to Las Vegas before, so it was a bit cold actually. But everyone said Las Vegas is going to be really hot, and actually it was quite chilly. But yeah, there were lots of really interesting stuff. About doing media in the cloud. So we had some talks about Rings of Power, which was produced in the cloud. We had talks about Formula One TV, who run their whole cloud, run a whole platform in AWS to do their live streaming service. We had some talks from Sky. Anyone here from Sky? Yeah. We had some talks from Dave Travis at Sky about all their cloudifying all their workflows. So there was a lot, and I guess one of the things I came away thinking was that actually everything is going into the cloud, apart from maybe the live production. Which is great because we've got Andy coming to talk about how we're going to do that. 40 years of breakfast TV in the UK. Anyone remember this guy? Yeah. The saviour of TVAM, apparently. So there you go. Channel 4 is going to stay public, which I think a lot of people are happy about. Yeah. So that's good. Anyone here for Channel 4? Oh, we normally get a couple, but yeah, fair enough. And Digital UK is going to become Everyone TV. So Digital UK, if you don't know, is or Everyone TV, I should say, is the organisation that runs FreeSat and Freeview, and they have rebranded themselves to Everyone TV. I'm not entirely sure why, but hey. All right, cloud native news, David.
I realized when I hit me up on this, I realized that putting this together, all my slides are just text. I need to start getting some photos of myself in there in various places doing various activities. So a couple of points. They're all kind of related to open source projects and really the progression of open source projects. Now, a lot of the cloud native infrastructure that we build are related to a number of sort of key and very popular open source projects. And it's as more and more companies start to adopt them and start using them, the question often comes up about, okay, we're going to start using these projects, but what if they disappear tomorrow? How confident are we in basing our platforms and our technologies and our processes around these sorts of technologies? And so what we're seeing is now with cloud native infrastructure and cloud native software being around for a number of years, slowly the maturity levels of those software projects are coming through, and you're starting to see some of the key pieces and key players just naturally go through the CNCF graduation program and becoming a bit of a sort of technology vending box of looking at what other people are doing and what's mature. Two of those projects are related to GitOps. So this is the GitOps gradual graduation, say that 5 times. So we have 2 projects. We have Flux and we have Argo. And it's interesting to see their path through this graduation process. 2 projects trying to solve very similar problems in the same space. One started the process of graduating through this Cloud Native Compute Foundation process in March 2022. And within the last month, they've graduated. And Argo started the process in February 2021. And they've only just graduated. And the reason for that is because now these projects are getting more and more prominence. There's more vigor around the processes for allow them to graduate. There's more vigor around what it means for them to graduate. So in terms of Flux, notable requirements they had for them to graduate was the governance alignment and sustaining contributions, so ensuring that project's not going to disappear overnight if 1 or 2 people stop committing code. And on the Argo side, there were some initial concerns around the security posture of the project, looking at the security, making sure that it aligns with general best practice, which required them to have a second external security audit. Now, both of these have passed, but it just goes to show how, with the transparency of the community, we can, you can have a level of confidence that these projects aren't going anywhere tomorrow. They're not, once they're in this CNCF process or in this sort of Cloud Native Compute Foundation process, they're not suddenly going to be pulled in and owned by a single vendor who's going to turn around tomorrow and say, actually, I'm going to start charging you for this feature. You can build with confidence. Saying that, Notary V2 re-review. Again, try to say that 5 times. This is an interesting topic, and it's come up in December. So this project, Notary V1, it's been around, was around for a couple of years, had a number of core developers. It's the reason for it being is to essentially sign container artifacts, to act as a sort of signatory store, to, like I said, as a notary, to ensure that your container contains what you expect it to. Notary V2, Notary V1 got submitted to CNCF, went through the level of accreditation and accepted. But now, none of the original Notary project members are on this project in V2. None of the lines of code from Notary V1 exist in the code base, and none of the same security design. Following that, there was an open letter co-signed by a number of leads from a number of different security projects, fronted by the CNCF tag security tech lead, which raised concerns around the lack of open development, a lack of designing for security, and how far it's moved away from the guarantees of V1. So you could see this as a cautionary tale and see this as a problem, but I see this again as a success story. Whereas the community have recognized this, and through transparency and through the foundation, they've been able to raise awareness around this and get this sorted. And so through their efforts, they've been able to open up the dialogue, get the confirmation, get more transparency, get more members involved, get security reviews processed, and get this project back on track. So again, it's just interesting to see how with these open source projects, a lot of people think that they just kind of work out themselves and it just kind of happens. But there are these very strong governance frameworks around a number of these to help protect. that's it, really. That's true. And there's one other thing, which is LastPass, which I didn't have a thing for. More of an advisory. LastPass. If anyone's got LastPass accounts, I don't know if the lawyers will hit me with this, but if everyone's got LastPass accounts, they've had a major security breach. You should review this. All I will say is, and this is factually accurate, so I shouldn't have any lawyers come at me, is if in the last 2 years you have set up a LastPass account, they have a re-encryption number. So when you submit your saved password or your database, a re-encryption number of 10,010. If you've created a LastPass account before then, the number is 1. So they've had a security breach. They have said that these password protected bundles have been taken, but now it's reliant upon the security and how hard your password is for a single decryption cycle. So I would start reviewing anything you stored in there. And on that front, I'll hand you over to Paul.
Thank you, David. And yeah, a LastPass breach, obviously very serious. I think much more serious than they'd like you to believe. Yeah. So we've got talks. I think first of all, Andy, are you somewhere? So we've got very pleased to have Andy Beale from BT Sport.